Look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. So looks like we are live. So welcome everybody to our webinar today. This is going to be an open house, open mic discussion between the three of us and you. Want to have a little town hall family meeting on the topic of replens. So this is an introduction to the Cheddar Replens beta program. And the goal of all this is to deliver more actionable leads to you at the same great price. So that's our objection with this. And I'm surprised, before we get in, I'm joined by Taylor Dunn and Grant Dunn, both from East Wenatchee, Washington, co-founders of Cheddar. Taylor runs operations. So when you got, a lot of you guys have been talking with Taylor a lot recently. So appreciate that. But I got to say, as we just get started, gentlemen, I am surprised. We posted that survey in the group yesterday. If people, the question was basically, if we were able to offer you more Cheddar leads at the same price, would you be interested? And I expected most people to be in favor of it, but I was surprised at the pushback that we got. So it seems to be a controversial little topic. So, but Grant, you ready to get started, man?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into this, guys. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk specifically what exactly are replens. We want to clarify what you may consider replen may be different than what we're considering replens. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the benefits of sourcing Cheddar replens. And we're going to talk about the 60-day beta program at the end of this. So there's pros and cons to this topic, and we believe in our gut. We have a gut feeling that this is overall beneficial for everybody. But since I know some people are pushing back, we're just going to try this for 60 days and see how it goes. But we want to talk about it with you guys today and flesh this out. So at the end of all this, since this is live on Zoom, if you guys have been a part of this, you guys know we love to engage with you. So post your comments in the chat box. You can send those to all of us. And then I will do my best to feed those as we go through. And then anything we don't get answered, we'll take a Q&A session specifically at the end. So we want to make sure that you guys are heard. And that's part of why we wanted to jump out and do the Zoom today. So we want to start off by this whole idea. I want you guys to have some backstory. Taylor, Grant, and I are constantly innovating. We're constantly having conversations and asking, how do we get more results with what we have? How do we prosper where we're planted? And so this idea started with a simple question, and that is, simply, how can we leverage Cheddar more to give you more actionable product opportunities? So of all the work, we've beefed up Cheddar. Some of you guys have seen in the group, we're north of 30 people on our sourcing team now, and that's working for you guys. So we've always said from the beginning, our team is your team, and we're saying, hey, how can we get more Cheddar? So up until now, Cheddar leads have been mostly unique, and I say mostly unique on each list. There's only one criteria that would allow a Cheddar lead to be reshared currently, and that is the only way that it would be shared is if it was 30 days or older and had a new coupon code, a new sale price, or a new source. Okay, so if you guys look on the list, that's the only reason. There's some leads that get reshared. Taylor, if you had to take a guess currently, because most of our lead gen is unique, so if you had to take a guess, how much of our lead gen is unique, and what % have we had replens on the list?
I'd say that like the vast majority of it, if I had a per percentage, I'd say about 90% of our leads are new. If we do share a previously shared lead, there's normally maybe it'd be one per list. We don't like to see too many more, one or two maybe. I think on today's there was two on one of the lists. I think it was Cheddar 5 or 6, something like that.
Okay. So yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't know. I knew there's some, and our team doesn't focus on this. We really push our team to find unique leads. This is the only way that they have showed up in the past. Now, the problem with this is that there's tons of good product opportunities that basically get lost in old data. And most sellers lack the systems and time to resurface these hot replens. So we call this lost opportunity. We do know, and based on the survey you guys answered, there are some of you that are going through and have a replen system. We knew it was a minority. Turned out to be about 12, 13% of you seem to be doing some sort of your own replen system. And I want to address this up front. Our goal isn't to replace your replen system. In fact, we have a slide specifically about that. You can still keep doing what you're doing. We just want to add to that. That's our goal with this. Mm-hmm. And we believe there's an opportunity for that. So what's the solution with all this wasted opportunity, Taylor and Grant? Well, Cheddar's going green. So we're introducing a recycle type program. This is where the idea for Cheddar replens, and we're calling it beta. You like that, Grant?
Yeah, that's good.
Right on the top of the head, man. That's what I get paid for. So Taylor, I want to ask you, man, how would you define, when we talk about replens, I want to clarify this right up front. Because a lot of times when people hear replen, like my first thought is, oh, this is like an item that you can, a lead that gets shared on Cheddar that's always good. So like it's toothpaste, and you can always buy toothpaste from this source. But that's not exactly what we're talking about. So you want to clarify what we're talking about when we say replens?
Yeah, so a replen is going to be any lead that we have previously found in the past, and there could be a numerous amount of reasons why it is being reshared. It could be things like the offer count has lowered down and the price has risen up and is profitable again. The item could have been out of stock from the source site previously, now it is back in stock. There could be a new sale that's going on. There could be a promo code. There's a numerous amount of reasons why it can be good again. Normally it's going to be things like sales and promo codes, but also out of stock items that are now coming back in stock. And also the best of the best would be items that just they convert very well on Amazon and have a good selling price on Amazon consistently.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot of reasons that could trigger this. So basically, a lead that's 60 days or older and is still active. It either is still active, something triggers it to be active again. It's on a new source, new coupon code, like Taylor said. There's a lot of reasons, but that's basically what we're calling a replen. So it doesn't necessarily mean like this could be a shoe item, it could be a clothing item. It doesn't mean that it's like a lotion that you replenish per se. So we want to clarify that. The key though is that it still meets our top shelf standards. So the Cheddar standard is the same as it was from day one 2 years ago when we launched till today. The $4 minimum net profit, 40% ROI, and 10 plus sales per month. So Grant, you had a good word for this the other day when we were talking. You said these are actionable product opportunities. So
Right.
whether it's the first time we've shared it or this is the second time, there's still actual product opportunities. And Taylor, when you do your sourcing, for you, there's really no difference to that. So we'll talk about that. But we asked you guys in the group, and this is the part that I was shocked about. We did this little poll on Thursday and basically asked, this was kind of our first, we'd been kind of testing some things. We're like, I wonder if you guys would be in favor of a replen system. And it was right around 87. It was like 87 point something and change of you were in favor of it. I noticed 13% weren't. And then what I noticed, Grant and Taylor, there was a conversation that came up and some of you changed your mind. Some of you were currently in favor and then you switched to no. And I think the big question, I want to address this right up front. So I'm gonna just ask you right up front, because this came out in the survey. The 13% of you that said no, that you were not in favor of us adding a replen system is because you're currently doing replens. And I think the general consensus, Grant, is that, if you guys start sharing replen leads, am I going to lose the exclusivity of the replens that I have already found? So I'm just going to ask you flat blanks. We've talked about this a lot of different ways. By us adding replens to the list, do you think this is going to add competition, specifically like offer counts for these leads?
Well, I think it's important to note that, some of the best replens that any particular seller might have through their own replen system might be leads that are heavily restricted. And that might be the reason why they're so replenishable. And so that's not necessarily going to change. The same 55 sellers are going to say that are going to see the same replens from previously shared on that particular list. It's not like we're crossing over. So I think that, and then I also think that our goal, and what I think we're going to notice is our goal is to deliver a lot more replens than you're probably finding on your own. And if we can't do that, I would say we have failed. So please report back. If you're not finding more replens than you're finding on your own accord, then please tell us. But I think the hope here is that everybody's going to go, wow, maybe one or two of my replens a week have been shared, but I'm getting another 20 to 25 replens to source off of every single week. And that's really the goal.
Well said, man. That's well said. We kind of simplified that we believe there. So short answer, there is going to be some if you've got, obviously if you're combing through stuff and we weren't, there's going to be more competition certainly. And we're going to address that. Taylor's going to go through the product life cycle here in a few minutes, and we're going to do some coaching around the buy box for you guys today. And like Grant said, our intention, this is why we're rolling this out in a beta, is that, you have your own hot list. We still encourage you to do that. Keep your own favorites list, because quite frankly, your favorites that you're ungated in are going to be unique to you. So keep doing that. We want to encourage, we've always said that from day one, we want to encourage that. And we believe that by adding the Cheddar replens, we can double, triple, quadruple the number of replens you're getting. So our goal is never, and just so you guys know, like, we love you. We want to build the greatest, our goal has been the same from the beginning to create the #1 online arbitrage lead list in the industry. So we never want to take anything away. We always want to add to. Okay. So just so you know, we're not here to try and change things up and take away the cheddar that you love. Like, we love cheddar too. Cheddar's the same as it was in the past. We just want to add on to it and give you guys more product opportunities. And we believe that is greater. So we talked about this. Any list that you guys keep, please keep doing those. And we fully admit that we don't know what's going to happen. Like, we have a projection of what we believe will happen with these leads. So we're going to do this in a beta. And we'll talk about the beta. This is not, we're only going to roll this out on a few of our lists in the beginning. We're going to do 60 days and just kind of try it out. So I'm very excited. Some of you guys were surprised this morning. If you were on OA Cheddar List 1 or 2, AKA Cheddar 55 and Cheddar Dose, you might have noticed a new section on today's list. And so we kind of rolled this out as a surprise. Some of you maybe not have checked the list yet today. So this is a blurred out version, obviously, but right below our top shelf leads, we've put the replenishables on here. And Taylor, I'm gonna, rather than just kind of share this, we wanted to just go through a couple examples with folks and just kind of talk about the product life cycle. So we've talked about, in fairness too, before I turn it over to you, Taylor, guys, we've talked about this idea like 40 different ways, okay? And we'll continue to look at this problem from different ways. We've talked about peeling off, replenishables, putting them in another list that you could upgrade to. We've talked about limiting that list to 20, 25 people. We've talked about adding it in with the cheddar just as a value added. So we wouldn't ask you guys for any more monthly. You would just get it as part of your cheddar. And we've talked about it a couple of different ways, and we're still open to how we slice cheddar. However, we also believe that the simplest solution is usually the best solution. And so from a deliverable, from our perspective, we said, hey, why don't we just throw this on the list for now, let you guys sample these. And for those of you guys that do have a fear that you'll be losing, kind of exposing some of your little honey holes, we're curious on how many of your little honey holes will actually show up on Cheddar replenishables. Because my hunch, Taylor and Grant, is that people are still going to have their hot list. Those leads won't show up, and this is just going to be on top of this. So anything you want to add, Taylor? You've kind of been pioneering the building of this. We've dedicated a couple of team members to harvesting these. Anything you want to add about what people will see who are on Cheddar 1 and 2 with the daily emails?
Yeah, so the big thing that I want to make sure that I stress about with this system is we are not taking leads from other Cheddar lists and sharing them to another Cheddar list. For the ones who are subscribed to Cheddar 55 and Cheddar Dose, the replenishables that you are seeing are leads that were previously posted on that specific Cheddar list. So we're not taking anything and bringing them from one list to another. So we're sharing it essentially with the same 55 people, minus maybe a few people who have just recently joined or recently jumped off. But we're not spreading this from list to list. This is all exclusive within that own list. I had our end of the month meeting with our team yesterday, and I believe the total right now was we had close to about 36,000 leads that we have found over the lifespan of Cheddar.
Really?
Since the day one to today. We have a tremendous amount of leads that are just sitting there. And so what we're doing is we're going back in and tapping into that old data, and data that sometimes goes back a couple of years that is now good again. These can be, again, things like your out of stock products that are, were out of stock when they were, after they got shared. Now they're in stock again, so we're sharing those again. But you're going to see a section exactly like this on your Cheddar list. We'll have the date where it was last published, so you know when was the last time this lead was shared with the group. And then all the new updated data, if there's any new promo codes and things like that, we'll add that in there as well. And again, following the same standards as our top shelf leads. So they do still need to meet our minimum requirements.
So that's a good point. I'm glad you said that, because I know it's a question someone's going to ask. So just to clarify, Cheddar 1, we're using the word, Cheddar 1 replens will only come from Cheddar 1 data. So if you're on Cheddar List 5, you won't see replens from Cheddar List 4, as an example. They'll be the consistent on each list. So there's still an exclusivity amongst those lists. Where, Taylor, the other thing, so the data that we're providing will be the same data. Are we going to be providing the last published date? Okay, so on the left-hand side, so you can actually see, this is one of the interesting things that I'm interested, I'm kind of curious myself, Taylor, to see how to go get inside your head and see how you go through your buying decisions, that you actually have an advantage on one level with replens, because you can go back in time, you can pull up the Keepa graphs from the date that we published it, and you can see exactly what happened to the offer count and the sales the last time we shared a lead, And, you know, history's, we can't say it's going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to be a good indicator, I think, as to what's going to happen again. You know, if there's a certain clothing lead, for example, that gets reshared, only so much of a list is going to be ungated, of people are going to be ungated in clothing and can purchase that. So, so this is like totally transparent. So these are 2 months, or to clarify, Taylor, these are leads that are 2 months or older. And then how far back? I mean, is there any limit to how far back we go, or just to the beginning of that list, basically?
No limit on how far back we'll go. It just depends on the promotions and the availability that day. We've had leads that were a year, you know, we've been building this replant section for a while now. Before sharing it, we had leads from 2018, all the way back from a year ago in 2019. So we're flushing it out. We're also creating new systems and working on ways to make that system better. So we're organizing and arranging our data in a way to where our team can come in and they can go back and find those certain sources. One big cool thing about this is when there is certain promotions going on and there's an opportunity to really dig into a certain source, you're gonna have a lot of leads that are gonna be shared and given to you. I think of things like Clinique. If Clinique is having a 30% off sale on their whole entire site, where in the past we wouldn't necessarily share those, you know, all those leads, those, you know, we had past Clinique leads that wouldn't be reshared. We're going to come in, we're going to find those, and we're going to bring it out to the forefront. Like, hey, this limited 2-day sale that's going on right now, here's everything that could possibly work for that 2-day sale. And we're giving it to you to where you can come back in and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. And pick back up those previous things, not just brand new ones.
So is it safe to say that, I mean, do you expect there to be like pops of color with replens, where if we get one Clinique lead, we're going to now have 5 or 6? Like, are we going to see more clusters, you think?
From what I've discussed with the team is if there is a limited opportunity for these replenishables and we're taking advantage of a certain sale or a certain promotion that's going on, I don't want to let those items just sit there and not be shared. I want to make sure that if it's a limited time thing, that we're over delivering and giving that to you, to our subscribers, so that way they can take advantage of that. So yeah, there should be days where you know, our goal is to hit 4 to 5 minimum a day. But there will be days where we over deliver because the opportunity's there and we don't want to hold back that information from you.
Yeah. So what you guys are looking at is this beta. So if you're on Cheddar 1 or 2, check your email after this webinar and you'll see this. On a very high level, here's what you're looking at. You know, we've always shot for 7 to 10 top shelf leads each day for each Cheddar. It's always been a standard. By adding in replens, what you're going to start to see is those numbers are going to go look more like 9, 10 per day, up to 15 per day. I mean, even this particular day, I know not every day is gonna be like this, but there's 17 leads on this lead sheet. Between the top shelf leads, we got 10 top shelf leads, 5 replenishables, and 2 honorable mentions. And so we've been, you guys may have noticed this, the Cheddar's been getting fatter and fatter recently. Our lead gen's been getting better. So that's kind of like an added perk. Personally, I think the value of Cheddar just keeps going up, and that's been our goal is, you know, we want to make this a $200 or $300 a month list that we don't ask you guys that for. We just keep it consistent. So let's go through, Taylor. I want to go through, based on a high level, these numbers look the same thing. Is there any difference? Let me ask you this, because you've been sourcing, and then we'll turn the page here. You've been sourcing off this secret replenishable list, because we've been doing this internally. So we've been doing this for ourselves. And just so you guys know, like, where these ideas come from, we could have easily just kept replens and Taylor could have kept them for himself, but we want to share them with you guys. So this isn't like we're trying, I mean, it would have been very easy for us to do this. So Taylor, you've been sourcing off of both of these. Is there any difference when you sit down in the morning to do your sourcing? Are you splitting your budget like 50-50 between new stuff and old stuff, or how are you approaching a lead list like this?
It's an extra 4 to 5 leads, you know, on the list that I get to pull out and purchase from. I vet them the exact same ways. I investigate them. If anything, it gives me a little bit more information to go back on, because I can go back to when it was last shared and I can see, okay, well, what happened when this was shared with 55 people in the group? You know, what was the history on it? Which gives me a little bit more security, knowing what I can do with that lead and how maybe I need to buy more this time. Maybe I need to buy less. So it's made it a lot easier to spend more money. You know, we're getting to the point now where we have so many leads coming out of our ears that we can't, you know, we can't spend enough money to keep up with it all. But I've been buying off of our replen section since we started putting this together. And it's been great. It's been a nice, easy way to add an extra 4 to 5 leads per list onto my buy sheet.
Okay. Okay, so you don't treat them any different. You treat the top shelf leads, the unique ones, the new ones, the exact same as the replens. You don't give them any more weights. If anything, you should feel more confidence with replens because you can go back, and I'm going to have you do this now, Taylor. Just kind of walk us through. You can go back and see what happened in the past. When we share a new lead, we have no way of predicting the future. And clearly, the big problem in online arbitrage is the race to the bottom. People get on a listing, you see the offer count rise up, people complain because you have more sellers that come on. Taylor, you don't seem to worry about that. So could you, there's the replens, okay. I wanna go through some live examples. So can I flip over the screen to you and have you just walk through a couple of examples of these product leads? Or before we do, look, Grant, you got something you wanna throw in?
Yeah, I don't know if you can go back to the last slide because there's a question I want to answer while we're on the topic. The question's from Jeff. Does this mean that there's going to be no more replens on the top shelf leads? And so I really want to describe the difference between what we're doing now and what we still will be doing. So we treat replens, or we've always treated replens like it has to be a new lead. That's why it has to have a new price, a new coupon, or a new source. Otherwise, that ASIN will not be redelivered, and it has to have been at least 30 days since it was previously published. So in our minds, it's always been a new lead when we deliver a replen. Okay. The new replen system isn't going to carry that same standard, right? It just has to meet the Cheddar standards and be at least 60 days since it was previously published. It's possible so you're going to see, replens that are really a new lead still in the top shelf system, and it's still going to be the minority. And then the replens are a different animal. Okay. I just want to make sure you understand the difference there.
Yeah, absolutely. You might find that the lead previously had like a 60% ROI and like a $6 net. And then on a replen, 6 months down the road, hey, it's still good. It's a 45% ROI and has a $5 net, or, so not the same as what we have been doing, which is it has to be a better price. There has to be more money that can be made, a new source. So absolutely.
Yeah. We'll be doing both systems. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changing. We're just adding the new replen standard.
Gotcha. Yeah, I appreciate that question. So hang on one second.
No worries. The other thing I'm going to touch on too is that the way that our team normally will go about and finding those leads that were previously shared is through their own lead generation throughout the day. What we're doing now is we're specifically looking at our old data, and we're targeting and going through that data multiple times to make sure that we're sifting out the stuff that is still there that our normal team might not normally find.
Yeah, and I could say this too, like we have full-time people that are working these lists. Right now, we think we can have one person working 2 lists, but with the amount of data that we have, they're barely going to scratch a small chunk of what we have. And so it's possible we can apply more and more labor and time to the list to flush out even more replens. So again, that's the whole kind of the concept of kind of overcoming the objection of like my replens are going to get oversaturated and overexposed. There's just so much data that I don't think that's going to happen on a significant level that doesn't make this better for your business. That's what I would say.
Yeah, good answer. Good question. So nothing's going to change about Top Shelf the way it is. We consider those, it's got a new, like it's a new website, something else that triggers it to be a new lead. We're just adding on to the replens, which will be 60 days or older. And Grant, we've talked about this too. This is why we propose a beta. We've got to build some other rules into this. And so this is part of why we want to get y'all's feedback rather than just like pitch you an idea. We said, hey, let's just let you try it. And then you guys sample it. We're building this for you. So you guys let us know, and then we'll go from there. So good point. So Taylor, I'll let you walk through. Let me stop my screen share here, and we'll go through some live examples. Oh, there you guys are. There's the chat. See, when you go live, you can't see the chat. There we go.
All right. Can you see my screen on the sheet?
I can, yes.
Okay. Let me move this. Oh, can't do that, can I? All right. So I grabbed 3 different items, and these are from earlier, I believe, this week, from when we were working on this behind the scenes. So what we have here, date that it was shared on or put on the list, which was on the 27th. This item was found November 19th, 2019. It's coming from Big Bad Toy Store. Buying it for $6.39. And so purchasing it here. Okay, the price breakdown when it was originally shared, it was selling for $17.11. So, and what we're looking at here in the last years, we're looking back when it was last shared, which was November 9th.
Okay.
And the item, so about right here is when this product was last shared. And
So how many offers do we have when it's shared, and how many did it go up to?
So when it was shared, it should have had about 4 different offers, or 14 offers. Yeah, 14. And then, you know, I'm looking at the last couple weeks afterwards, it jumped up to about 19, 20. Not a tremendous hop. Again, not everyone, people don't always buy the same leads. And again, the restrictions come involved with this. This is a Funko Pop figure. So, you know, some good chunk of the sellers might not be approved to sell this item. But what I'm looking at is I'm just looking to see, okay, what happened last time this item was shared? And really what happened was not much at all. Now, granted, this was also right before Q4. This is a toy type item, so is going to do well during the season. But then I look at January, February, and I can see, okay, this price stays pretty much consistent. You know, it's not really dipping down. If I go to the lowest point of like, you know, 13, 14 is the lowest in those during those times. I'm hitting at $13. I'm still making about $1 in FBA. You know, I'm still above my break-even price, and that's over from the span of November 9th till today, so about roughly 6 months. So I have the history. I see what happened with this item when it was originally shared. Moving on to the next one.
Let me ask you, just go back real quick. Let me ask you, so this is the part, and I'll ask this on each one. Sellers freak out when they see the offer count go up and the price drops. You don't freak out. You don't seem to care. So what do you look at when you see something like this, offer count jumps up to 19? Are you just waiting till that sells through, or why do you have so much peace with this?
So from just experience and just seeing what's and following these products and seeing what's moving in through our store, and also what sits in our inventory, and offers will spike and offers will go back down. A lot of times, especially with OA, we're taking advantage of limited time opportunity, whether it's through promo codes or sales, to buy these items cheap enough to where we can make a decent enough profit on Amazon, which doesn't mean that there's a forever supply of that inventory. So yes, on a lot of OA items in general, you're going to see a spike after it's shared with a group of people, like 55 people. But what will normally happen is either that price will drop down very close to what the break even is, maybe a little bit underneath it, because majority of people are paying the same price for that item, so no one is trying to lose money. But maybe that price gets chased down to like that break even price, or maybe a little bit underneath it. I just sit back and wait. I set my repricer up with the same strategy. I want to make at the bare minimum. If the price is going to go down, we want to make around $1.50 on majority of items. Shoes are an exception for that for us, and I'll just let it sit there. So I have in our current inventory, I do have a percent, about, let's say maybe 25 to 30% of my inventory might be below my minimum price, and competition is being lower than that. And what I've seen over these last few months is that number really doesn't change. It fluctuates, and there'll be items that I bought a couple months, you know, a month or two ago, that will start to sell again, you know, and there'll be items that I recently purchased that are, you know, the competition is just tainted. I will say a note to anybody who's watching who might not know this. Amazon will share that buy box, and it is shared amongst all the sellers around that lower or lowest price. So unlike eBay and other stores, you do not have to just continue to lower the price to try to sell your item. You can match with the other offers and still have the same opportunity as others to get that buy box. But that does happen, and people will drive the price down. Frankly, I think out of fear, because they're afraid that price is going to continue to drop and they're going to end up losing all this money into the product. That really doesn't happen all the time. The worst case scenario most of the time is that you break even. Yep. So I would suggest for anybody who's watching, be patient and wait. You know, if your business is set up right now to where you need to make that money back quickly and you need to make those quick flips, you need to be very selective about the products that you're purchasing for your business to make sure that they are going to be fast, quick turners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The protection. I'm just going to interrupt you. Yeah. the protection for a brand or for a seller to be able to play the wait game and the patience game. One, it takes experience, and so that you have a history of seeing what happens, and you don't have that freak out that first year of being in this business where you're freaking out when the price drops. You're going, oh no, I bought something and now I'm going to lose $1. Like, first of all, who cares? Because you're making $3 to $10 on everything else you're selling. But it's the wide and shallow model, right? We have 1,500 SKUs spread out. You know, we have 100, not quite, maybe 80 to, you know, $90,000 invested into 1,500 SKUs. So kind of do the math to kind of figure out how deep we're going on an average basis, dollar-wise, into a SKU, right? That's how we can play the wide and shallow game. We send inventory in, 25% of it's going to sell within 2 weeks. The next 25% of it's going to sell within 45 days. The next 25% of it's going to sell within 60 days, and the rest of it's going to sell within 3 to 6 months. And that's just the way it is. You got to play the game, right? And I think that pretty much sums it up.
Which is one of the things I like about OA over retail arbitrage. I was on a call with a subscriber earlier, and he was a retail arbitrager. And one of the things that we were talking about is like how when you're doing retail arbitrage, it is so easy to go too deep on an item because it's right there in front of you and there's a shelf full of it. So it's so easy just to grab that and put it into your basket. Whereas with OA, you can spread your money out so much more shallow and way wider that your risk per SKU is a lot less. So you don't stress out about, you know, if you've invested $500 into a certain SKU and, you know, and you're sunk into it so deeply, you're extremely invested into it. Whereas if you only, you know, 3 to 4 units into something, you're okay letting it sit there and wait a little bit. And maybe you're okay taking that break, even getting your money back and moving on to the next product. So no, we really don't worry about it too much. We let it just sit and simmer down, and it seems to always be flowing.
So this is good. So let's go on to the next lead. Let's see this again, because this coaching is helpful for all of us. Now, this comment, Ed, you threw in the comment box. This is the other elephant in the room. You know, he says, no more pricing a penny less than my price, please. So yeah. Technically, we're not allowed to, I think it's called collusion if we all price fix. So we're not allowed to suggest you do that. We've always battled with this. Taylor, you're not worried about it. You know, every time I've talked to you about this, you say, hey, if people are going to do that, there's always going to be a certain amount of OA sellers that do this. People get annoyed at these people. I've done this in the past too, where you get anxious and you want to move something. You don't get anxious. You let the weak hands sell out. You let the price go back up a couple weeks later. You sell it maybe 2 weeks later than that, or 3 weeks later than that. Is there anything you would say? How do you guys, when you do your rules for your repricer, are you setting it to match the buy box, or what's your general? I know you're doing some training on this because you have different strategies, but how do you guys generally price?
We match.
You match.
We almost never will try to beat the FBA price by a penny or set up any automated system like that, because when you do that, you are, you know, if you have 2 pricing strategies that are trying to beat each other by a penny, they're going to just tank the price. You're sabotaging the listing.
Well, it only takes one seller that's beating everybody else by a penny to drive the price down, because if everybody else is matching you, it's penny match, penny match, penny match, penny match, all the way down to the bottom.
Yep. So
it's match, right? If we want to play the game, it's match, right?
So it's match. So we can't tell you guys what to do.
Right.
We can say this is what Taylor and Grant do. Okay. So you can choose to do that, or you could choose to, I mean, we just can't
do whatever's best for your business model.
Yeah. And you guys are okay with waiting for that. So
yes.
Cool. Let's see I want to see this cycle though, because I think it's helpful again to see how you look through leads and look through historical. So let's go through another one of these and just see the product life cycle.
So this product was found January 10th, 2020. Buying it right now, there's a coupon for 20% off. I'm getting it for $17.60. So price breakdown there. Right now, I'd be the only offer on this listing, because before this showed up on a Replant list, no one was purchasing this item to sell it, or it was sold out currently at least. So go to the year, and I'll grab January and on. So January 10th, this is when the item was shared. There's about 8 offers that were on this, and the price was high, $34.98.
Okay.
So this is our spike right here. The only reason I can think of why there's a spike in offers here is because this got shared onto the Cheddar List. So we went from about 8 to 9 offers all the way up to about 25.
Okay.
What you see here is that the price did go down. Now the price goes down. We're looking at around 30, 26 to 30. So at 30, we're still making a $4.44. At 26, we're still $1 above our break-even price, at least at this current buy cost. And that's kind of where it's at. And that's what I'm seeing with this old data from our old leads is, again, the price will go down, but it almost always goes down to about that break-even price or right above it. Not too often does it ever go down and actually start losing money. And then what happens is it peaks, people panic, and they lower the price and they start selling it for that break even. Well, if you would, this is February 1st. So if you were to wait till February 15th, you would have started noticing that the offer count was starting to drop, and it was dropping in that 2-week span. It went from 25 to 17. Go into another 2 weeks from now, or a month from when it was originally peaked. Prices hit points like 29. Okay, it's going up to where it's making a few bucks. And then if you just would have stayed with it a little bit longer into March, you just see as it gradually goes down, and it goes back up to that $35 mark and hits up there in those peaks.
Is it going out of stock there in March then?
It went out of stock. April 10th is when this item went out of stock for the first time.
Okay, so this is a trend we see happen. So there is the cheddar effect. This is going to happen with any type of lead list. So you see that pump, it comes back down. How quickly? Now I know in the past when you guys were doing heavy RA, I asked you offline today, Taylor. You guys were, Grant, you did a really good job of this even before Taylor started working with you, of turning your inventory every 30 days. You were churn and burn. So are you guys still on pace with that with OA, or have you stretched that out a little bit where you sell stuff 60, 90 days down the path? What's your turn cycle like now?
We sell, so we used to sell, when we were at our best performance, we would sell 100% of our 30-day running total was 100% of my in-stock sale price valuation. And that was like unmatched, unheard of. Now, as we got deeper into clothing and shoes, and as we got into OA, we're kind of averaging about 70 to 80%. So, if we're doing, $100,000 in sales, like we finally kind of got back up to like that over $100,000 in 30 days. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So we're kind of getting back on track after COVID and all that craziness. I've got about $135,000 worth of sellable inventory at sale price. Okay. In terms of buy cost, it's a lot higher. We're selling 130% of our buy cost.
So it's slowed down a little bit. I'm trying to summarize.
Slow down a little bit. But yeah, we still turn pretty quickly. We have a very aggressive strategy. When Taylor teaches the repricing stuff, we will set our minimums right above break even, making $1 or $2. And then if it's like a pair of shoes or a heavier item, we might be trying to make $4 or $5. And we will follow the low FBA price all the way down to that point. And we've just found that overall that works for us, and we are able to continue to turn and burn and buy new stuff. So
cool.
We go through our inventory only about once a quarter. I try to go through all of our past stuff that's been sitting there for a while and not selling, and try to push it out and figure out ways. And I just recently did this a couple weeks ago, and majority of that stuff that's getting close to 6 months old is just old RA stuff that we went too deep in because it was easy to go deep in RA. And I look back and think, okay, why did I buy that? Why did I buy so many of that one item? Because
you had to travel all over the state.
Different mindset. When you're doing RA, it's a different mindset. There's that scarcity. It's on the shelf. I'm here now. It's that whole thing. So
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Right now we still move our inventory fairly quickly. And there are moments, there's for this part right here, there's going to be moments where it dips down below where I want to sell it at, or what we set our pricer up to. And I'm just going to sit there and wait. Odds are after about a month or so, it's probably going to be back up in a profitable range, and I can sell it and move back on. If it gets anywhere past, 2 to 3 months, then yeah, I might need to look at, hey, can I just get rid of this? What's happening with this particular item? But it is nice. So you can go back in and you can see where, what happened last time this was shared. So if I'm looking at this lead, I'm going to source this. I'm going to say, okay, well, I can buy, the rank on this is good. It's under 100,000 in the health and beauty category, more around that 40 to 50,000 rank. So I know that it's selling fairly quickly. And if this is to get shared, at least I know that last time it hit towards those high offers, the price never really got down below that break even part. So I know I'm safe there. So I'm asking myself, okay, well, with the rank being as low as it is, with the offers being as low as they are, and the price being as high as it is, can I go buy 4 or 5 of these, send them in, and sell them quickly? Can I sell 3 of them quickly, and maybe I have to hold on to 2 of them for a little while? You know, if I sell 4 for a good profit and 1 for a break even profit, well, I'm still making profit all the way around. So I can at least judge that now, where before with a fresh cheddar lead, you don't know what's going to happen to it afterwards. And there are times where I go in and I'll be checking in a product that we purchased about a week and a half ago or so, and it's ready for me to reprice. And I can see that somebody jumped on the listing and just shot the price down. And you know, those are frustrating moments, and those are moments where you're like, come on, man, like buy box rotates. Like, how do I scream it from the rooftops? But almost all the time, I'll still set my price the way I do. I'll be patient and wait, and it normally comes right back around. There's still a demand for these products, you know, just because there is a quick little influx of inventory in the market doesn't mean that the demand won't eat that up and then come back up to, you know, to a more reasonable price. All right, so let's move on to the last one.
Yeah, let's do one more, and then I see your question around us. We'll hammer that. We'll hit that in a second here. The thing I'm learning from while you're pulling this up, Taylor, is you're just patient. You watch it go up, you go down, and you're just patient with it. So let's go through one more. Hopefully this is helpful. Is this helpful for you guys? Type yes in the comments if it's helpful for you to see under the hood. Taylor's been asked to do some more like over the shoulder sourcing videos. So we've got some new training that we're gonna be releasing to the group. I'm curious if this is a good use of time. Yes. Cool. We'll do one more while you're doing that. If you guys have specific questions, this is a great time. So pay attention to this part of the webinar to ask Taylor. You can get coaching from Grant Taylor's 7-figure arbitrage business. So throw that in there if you guys have specific questions. So let's go through one more, Taylor. Let's see one more replan lead. Let's go look through the rainbow and see what happened.
So this is just an example of how things aren't nearly as competitive as people may think. We shared this lead back in November 21st, 2019. Right now, you're buying it for $749. Was at $17.95 when it was originally shared. It's gone down just a little bit. So this is back to when it was found around this time. Now, when this was shared, this was a slower moving item. Something's changed now in the market, and maybe this product has somehow become more popular, whether you know it was a newer item when it was first launched. I'm not quite sure the reason why, but I can see that if you look back in November and December, those sales rank spikes were higher. The price really hasn't changed much, but the sales ranks are now dropping at a faster rate. So there's now more of a demand for this product in the market. So even though when this was originally shared, there wasn't a huge spike coming from our list because people might have disqualified this lead prematurely, thinking that they were going to get stuck with it. So no one really jumped in on this. Maybe these 2 offers right here were coming in from Cheddar. And then if you follow the lifespan of the product, you just see, okay, well now it's more popular. Now it's selling. Oh, it sold out recently as well. So okay, now there's an opportunity to come in and take advantage of this. There's only 1 offer on it currently, and at the rate that it's selling for, it wouldn't surprise me if this 1 offer is going to fall off soon.
And Taylor, are these 3 leads that we're looking through, are these replen leads, actually old data that is a deliverable data?
Yeah, so these were coming off of Cheddar 55, and these were leads that
you can source them now technically.
Yes.
Right
now.
Cool.
Yeah. I could buy these. I could use the promo codes.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I missed it.
Yep. No, I can use the promo codes and lower that buy cost down to where it's at. And these
Taylor before the webinar. I asked Taylor to grab 3 leads that have 3 replens that we just started doing the beta today. So these are replens as part of the non-shared replen list. These are kind of like the archives.
Good.
One of the things I like about this though is it does show that during that time span there's now a stronger demand for this product than there was when we first shared it. So you might be sourcing off of your Cheddar leads and putting together your own favorite list of products, and you might not ever think, I'm not going to put this on there. Like, why would I put this on there? It's a slower seller. I mean, the rank's getting up as high as past 400,000 in the health and beauty category. What the benefit of this system is we have people come back in and reinvestigating every single one of our our previous leads, and they might catch something like this. Hey, this product is more popular than it has been previously, and now it's and because of its popularity, now it's has more profit.
And here's the problem with the previous system is if it doesn't have a new price, a new promo, or a new source, you'll never ever see it again.
Right.
So what this lead would not have showed up. It would be buried.
Right.
This is a prime example. This is a lead that would be buried in the archives in that 36,000 data points. And maybe like, who knows how many people are finding them. We're guessing that about
very few, obviously.
What's that?
Very few, obviously. Look at
Very
the out of
few,
stocks.
obviously. Yeah. So, and we believe there's more like this, guys. We've got this. I mean, someone shared earlier in the webinar that what they like about our group is that we have this abundance mindset. We believe there's so much more that can go around from doing this, that we want to just dump more replens on you that you guys can handle. That's kind of our goal with this stuff. So Nicholas made a quick joke, and then I'll go back and we'll finish up the presentation. He said, let's all jump on these listings and drive the price down. So clearly we're sharing these leads live. This is going to get published to YouTube after. So, use that information how you will. We protected that. Yeah, I think he's being sarcastic.
There are certain brands and certain places that I wasn't going to pull out of. So I tried being selective, like, hey, these are kind of random for this presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Couple quick comments, and I'm going to get back. We got about 10 more minutes of slides. So first, Jeff Vaca says he was originally a no on the Facebook poll and am now a yes vote. Great presentation. So so that's good to know, Jeff. I'm curious, what made you turn the corner? Why are you now a believer in Cheddar Replens? Is it because you think we can give you more replens than you're finding? What is it? Daniel says, is there any room on Cheddar 1 and 2 right now? So that's a loaded question. So I just checked. Cindy sent us the update this morning, and the answer to that question is no. Cheddar 1 through 5 is full. There are a couple spots on 6 and 1 spot on 7. This is real time. We didn't get a chance to talk, Grant, so we will send out an email to the waiting list probably later about those. I wasn't planning this, but no, currently there's no spots on 1 and 2. So if you're on 1 and 2 now, I'm curious also, how many of you guys on live today are on Cheddar 1 or 2 or both? So we call Cheddar 1 as Cheddar 55 is how you guys see it, and then Cheddar 2 is dose. I'm curious how many of you guys are on it. While those are coming in, Marcelo said, can you please summarize that last point? Let's back up here. I think the last point was that leads get lost. That last lead that Taylor was just showing was an example of a product lead that would not qualify to be reshared on the current top shelf Cheddar. Because can you re-explain why, Taylor?
Because it's not a new lead.
Yeah, it has to have some type of new something about it has to have become better price, a second or a new source,
or a new coupon.
Or a new coupon that came in.
So it would not trigger on a top shelf lead, but this type of lead now will qualify to be reshared with you guys on the replens. And I'll share this too, because we came up with this. We realized this today too. So those of you, we've showed this in the past, the best kept secret of Cheddar has always been to go back in the archives and farm these out. We've always said this. What we're presenting to you guys today is, instead of you sitting in front of a computer for 20 hours a week, literally is what we're paying. We've got someone full-time doing 2 lists. If you're doing that or someone on your team is doing that, great. If not, you're missing product opportunities. So leads like this, won't buy, and you can still do that. So if you guys are still keeping your own favorite list, keep it. Take the replen list, and I'm curious, Taylor, a month from now to go back to the replen list and re-scrape replens. What we're going to see with that. So you can rabbit trail this stuff both ways. So it's a good point. So David says both. So David's on both. Nicholas is on 255 dose. We got a handful of people, probably 5 or 6 of you guys that are on live that are on one of those 2. So if you're on, you kind of got lucky. Some of you guys have been subscribed to Cheddar 1 for like 2 years and you won't leave. So that's good. That makes us happy. Now, I'm proud to announce, Taylor, one of the questions we get more often than not is what's the difference between Cheddar 1 and Cheddar 7? And there's always been nothing. And now there's a difference. And the difference is, at least of today, while this beta is in place, that Cheddar 55 is going to get dumped on, get these extra replenishables, Cheddar 7 currently not. And the reason for that is, it's kind of natural. We have to have a backlog of data to go farm replens. So Cheddar 7 that just got released doesn't have the history, doesn't have the archives yet to go through. So we don't know how long it's going to take. Could be 6 months, could be 9 months, could be a year's worth of data. We're not quite sure. We got to kind of figure that out with some of our newest lists. And again, that's why we're beta testing it with Cheddar 1 and Cheddar 2. Those are the two lists that have the longest, deepest archives. And clearly a newer list, once we do roll it out, we'll have less replens on it, just less data. I think that's the nature of it. So if you guys are on a low level list, our lists have become like rank. Cheddar 1 now has more value than Cheddar 7 if you're counting actionable leads delivered, which is a metrics. So a bunch of you guys are on both. That's interesting. Like a lot of you guys on here. Cool, man. Let's go. I got your side question, David. We'll hit that. We'll take a couple of these side questions again. Let me go back to the slides here real quick, guys. Let's finish this up, and then we'll take some more questions here and wrap up. Anything you guys want to throw in real quick?
I was going to say that as of right now, or at least our thought process on this is that we would never want to start this type of system with any list that is not a year old or older. You really want to have a deep well of leads that you can tap into. We're starting with Cheddar 55, Cheddar Dose. Theoretically, we could expand out to Cheddar 4 with this type of program if the interest is there and the subscribers want to do that. As of right now, that's kind of our mindset is like, okay, we need at least a year worth of data because now we have a deep well to pull from. And we want to make sure that, we're not sharing stuff that was like 3 or 4 months old. We want to make sure that, we have the data to cycle through.
Right. So let me do exactly, man. So let's go through this, and then I see a bunch of questions coming in. So I'm going to save some time for Q&A because I think we're going to have probably more questions than we anticipated. So why are these valuable? I'm just going to recap. At the end of the day, more actionable leads daily, more buying opportunities. You can be more selective with what you buy. You can go deep and you can go shallow and wide, and more product opportunities, more revenue, more profit. So we believe this will give you better. And we also believe that by adding, taking a list that's got 7 to 10 leads, and now we're going 10 to 15, our belief is that should spread out the demand. So people are going to be buying differently, which should, hypothetically, that should lower the competition on all of our leads slightly. We don't know how much. And again, this is a projection. We're going to have to see when we release this thing. So originally it was, we're projecting 6 to 7 top shelf leads still. So if you like the top shelf leads, you're still going to get those. We're just going to give you the new stuff in addition to that. So nice thing about the replens, these are tried and proven leads. They were good before, like Taylor just showed us. You can go back in history. You can see what happened in the past. It'll give you more data to make better buying decisions. We say that they've kind of run the gauntlet and succeeded, if you will. So there's more data behind it. Big time saver. Guys, we're talking 15, 20 hours a week per list. So those of you guys that are doing replens, I'm curious, maybe put in chat if any of you guys are doing replens, how much time per week are you currently spending harvesting replens, either you or someone on your team if you guys have VAs? We've got full-time teams that are doing this stuff for you guys. So if you want to save the hassle of doing that, save the hassle of hiring and training, just let us do it for you. So 15 to 20 hours a week. And if you're newer on the list, this will show you historical winners like we've talked about. So we believe this is a win-win. Another point, Grant, you brought this up. A lot of leads, a year ago, you were restricted on a product category or ASIN. Now you're not. So stuff that you couldn't buy in the past, now you'll be able to. It's on a seller by seller basis. So we've always had this question like, hey, I'm gated and stuff. There's no way for us to know what you guys can sell versus what Taylor can sell, for example. But we just want to go wide and give you guys as much access to data as possible. We believe that's the solution for this. So these are leads that are coming out and we've had wasted data. This is wasted potential. So this is like Cheddar. I said this at the beginning of the webinar. This is like Cheddar going green. Okay. This is like our equivalent of the Cheddar windmill. Okay. Where we're finding ways to recycle energy, reuse data to give you active product opportunities. So it gives you the same result, less energy. That's what we're going for here. And dude, some of the stuff's got old data. So Taylor, we've got archives for Cheddar 1. It's 2 years old at this point. So imagine the goodies that are just buried in those archives. It's all good news. Deliver all of this to you. We give this extra data, add more value, and we don't charge you anymore. So we're not talking about raising the price of the list. I think we could probably easily justify a $200 a month list, maybe a $250, maybe even $300 a month. If we're adding 30% more leads, I think it'd be easy to do that. We've also talked about, in full transparency with you guys, someone has suggested, well, hey, why don't you just let the replens be an upgrade? Let me pay an extra $100 a month on top of my list, and maybe limit that to 20 or 25 sellers. And so logistically, that's kind of a nightmare for us to try and manage like double subscriptions on each list. So, and I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'd be curious, maybe in the chat, if you have an opinion on that. Would you rather pay more for exclusive access to replens, or would you be in favor of us just rolling it out with the list as it is and just have it be an added perk? Okay, that's what we're defaulting to. We've considered doing this different ways. All right, so what's next? Okay, I'm going to summarize this webinar, then we'll take some questions. So we're rolling out this beta. We've weighed the pros and cons. We've had multiple conversations about this. We appreciate y'all's feedback. Our hunch is that there's going to be more positives gleaned from the Cheddar replenishable systems than the few negatives. That's our hunch, but we want to test it out and get feedback from you guys. So we're rolling out a 60-day beta period for the replens list, and this will be on Cheddar 1 and 2. So if you're on one of those lists starting today, you should have already started seeing replens. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on your personal favorites list, your personal replen list, and then we want to compare notes. We're going to have some surveys and things in 60 days and 90 days to get feedback from you guys. Maybe have some Groove posts or things like that. So that's what's going to happen. The leads are going to show up in a separate part of the list. We're doing it for 60 days. After the 60-day period, we're going to ask for feedback from you guys. Just you guys tell us if you like it, if you don't. We're not married to it. So at the end of 60 days, if you guys say, hey, this sucks, I don't like all the extra leads, I'd rather find them myself, you're giving away too many of my gold nuggets, then we would certainly be open to closing it down. So we reserve, legal disclaimer, we reserve the full right to change this program at any time in the future. But we want to get y'all's feedbacks. We want to make this that's in your interest. So at the end of that, though, our hunch is that you're going to like it. We think you guys are going to like it. We just want to let you try it and use it. If you guys do like it, we will either continue to roll out replens on the other list. So list 3, 4, 5, it'll go in order from lowest to highest. We've got to figure out how far back we've got to go. Or if some of you guys are like, hey, this is really cool, but I just want to pay extra and be on an exclusive list, we'll do something like that too. So whatever is going to be in everyone's best interest, we will roll that out. What's the Feta list about? I see there's 11 spots. Hey, 30-second plug for Feta, Grant, and your best. Feta's our most undervalued resource, and we have people that have joined Feta like years ago that won't leave. So what's your best pitch, Grant, for the Feta list?
Yeah, so I'll start with Cheddar. Cheddar is a $4 minimum net profit, a 40% minimum ROI, and 10 sales a month. Feta has a $2 minimum net profit, a 20% minimum ROI, and still 10 sales per month. The difference is if a lead does not meet any one of those standards, it will not go on Cheddar, because we require that all Cheddar leads meet all standards, okay? Now, so what that means is, an example would be, and this doesn't mean that like Feta is like the next best thing since sliced bread. I'm just saying that Feta has value, and we have had people that have been on Feta now for like 2 years. They don't go away. They love their Feta, right? And so, but for example, let me explain this. Let's say that there's a lead that has a $10 net profit, but only a 25% ROI. That will not land on Cheddar. It will land on Feta, right? Or vice versa. Let's say it has a 150% ROI, but has a $3 net profit. Probably still a good lead, or very potentially is still a really good lead. It will not land on Cheddar. It'll land on Feta. And that's why Feta is a good product.
Great ancillary list. If you're on one of our lists or multiple and you're looking for a good supporter, jump on Feta, be patient. We've heard from, and I think one of the reasons a lot of people say subscribe to Feta, yes, you're not going to find, there's not as many sexy leads, like there's not as many juicy stuff, but there is juicy stuff that squeezes on there for exactly what Grant said. It hits 2 of the 3 criteria, but not the 3rd. And there's a lot of good replens on there. So another question Matthew asked, is the Feta replens coming? So we haven't talked about this. We don't currently have plans for Feta replens. That's an interesting idea. We honestly haven't talked about it. So I don't know if you guys, right now, Feta's about half full. So we really haven't had a need to do replens, because that list is, it's just never been full like the Cheddar has. But
I think we got 40 people on there.
There's 40 now?
I think it's up to, yeah, I think it's at 40, but let me double check before we
check it. So that means there are about 15 spots. So if you guys want one of those, there's 50 or 60 of you guys that are on here live today. So go over to oafeta.com, jump on there. It's $99 a month, and there's good leads on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a couple more last questions here. Gabriel, like your name. Love your list. Sub to 2, 5, and 6. Have been on 4 other different lists, and Cheddar is better, way better. So that's good to know. Love hearing that, man. Love hearing that. Marcelo, Cheddar face mask. That's what you're saying. No, we're not going to be making no Cheddar face mask. I'm not doing that, dude. I see. Good idea, Marcelo. I've seen people do that, man. It's just not my jam. I don't know, Grant. We're trying to make more leads for you guys, man. We're not trying to. We got to stay true to the path. We can't be getting distracted, making all this other stuff. Dude, let me just say this. I think this thing's going to blow over just as fast as it came. I think there's going to come a day in the near future, maybe 30 days, 60 days. I don't know when it is, 90 days, whatever, when America's going to reopen, the world's going to go back to normal, and this whole face mask thing. That's my personal belief. I'm not going to use this as a platform to talk about everything that's going on. And Grant and Taylor may think differently too. This isn't a shared belief, but anyways, cool. All right. Hey, thank you guys for jumping on today. If you're watching the replay, do us a favor, subscribe over on YouTube. If you guys are on live now and you're not subscribed on YouTube, it is youtube.com/OACheddar. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Hit the post notifications if you guys would over on YouTube to be notified when we drop these videos. We did not broadcast this video live in the group, so we'll be publishing the replay there if you guys want to go back and check it out. Appreciate you guys being on. Appreciate the feedback. Glad to hear the response is positive for Cheddar Replens. In summary, we believe that the benefit, let me pop out here. We believe that the benefit from Cheddar Replens is greater than any kind of anybody losing any leads. So what we're going to say is if you're on Cheddar 1 and 2, do nothing at this time. You will be getting the extra Cheddar Replens. Test it out for 60 days. Let us know. And we're going to take your feedback, and we will consider the next course of action from that point. We'll either roll it out system-wide, or we would kill the program, basically, or reslice it or something. But anyways, love you guys. Taylor, I guess, Taylor, anything you want to add?
No, I think we've touched on everything. Yeah, I think that was good.
Yeah, Grant, anything else, buddy?
Nope, just thanks for being on the call, everybody. I actually really had fun today. It was a good one.
Grant actually really had fun today, folks.
Yeah.
I will add one thing. I saw the question, is Amazon Flips great for FBM as a strategy? And my first thought was, yes, if Amazon is if you buy it, Amazon's out of stock, and you receive the product and there's nobody on the listing as of right now, it could be beneficial to create a merchant fulfill listing and snag that sale real quick before you send it into FBA, wait for it to arrive.
Or yes, if there's enough margin that you can compete with Amazon and sell for a lower price than them.
We'll have to do some more talk about Flips, dude. Flips is another one of our programs that's greatly underutilized. So let's benchmark. I'm going to star that one on my paper here, Grant. Let's revisit that one. For those of you guys that are on Flips, take advantage of it. It's a good time to be on Flips. And if you're not on Flips, I'd consider subscribing at oacheddar.com/Flips. These are Amazon to Amazon Flips. So anyway, side plugs for that. Hey, have a great weekend. Thank you guys all for being awesome. Thank you for being an awesome, loyal subscriber. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you guys for being cool customers too. Like, I really mean this. We have some really cool customers, and we're grateful for that. We know you guys are cool, and we like that. There's some weirdos in the bunch, but I think you'll have that anywhere, right? I mean,
mainly Taylor.
Someone in this group's a weirdo. We don't know who it is. You know, it could be. Always top quality. Thank you, Jen. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. There, he's out. See, now we hurt his feelings. Taylor's out here now. So. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you in the group. You guys are rad. Appreciate you, Clay. We'll see you guys later.
Weirded up.
There it is. There it is. Weirdos. Weirdos with a lot of leads. I'll take it. All right. We'll see you guys.
Man. See ya.
Bye,